you find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Welcome into the Gibson Fantasy Football Podcast. Whoop.
It's a little too ICP for me. Gotta turn it down the whoop whoop.
Can I get a whoop whoop whoop?
Got
Whoop?
clowns running around behind us.
We're psyched, man. We're,
Oh yeah.
coming off a big Sunday football with a hell of a Monday night game, and then now we got ourselves a Thursday nighter coming up tomorrow.
Bit of an interesting matchup tomorrow night.
Yeah. It feels a bit like when the Steelers and Browns played there a couple weeks ago. You're like, well, it's interesting because they're both mediocre. So
Yeah. It's interesting because they're both in the same conference too, but Washington and Chicago. That's
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but we'll see.
No.
So yeah, we here on Wednesday, October 12th, and Josh and A-Aron here to rock it with you. As usual, you can find us on GibsonFantasyFootball.com, Gibson_FF on Twitter, and Gibson Fantasy Football, all one word, on Instagram, YouTube, Podbean, and Spotify. So, as we alluded to, we are back for another week here,
Mm-hmm.
and we have arrived. Week 6. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't feel like we've already had 5 weeks of football.
No, it doesn't. It goes by pretty quick though.
It does, which is kind of scary. I mean, you
Yeah.
think about it, week 6. There's 18 weeks now with the extra game. I mean, after this week, we'll be a third of the way done already.
It's pretty insane how fast it goes.
I know. I feel like I just got a grasp of like who's good, who's not good, and there's even a few things I'm still like trying to figure out. And for it to already be like a third done after this week, that's wild.
It's hard to look at it after this week's done and kind of say this team for sure, is probably the most dominant team. I mean, you could make a case for the Philadelphia Eagles, I guess, but are they?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably still take the Bills, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's you could make, I think, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles. You could put kind of any of them in that group. There's a group there of a few teams. Even the 49ers are pushing to be in that group.
Mm.
But yeah, so we'll get to that. But before we move forward, we got to go backwards. And that means that we must review week 5. And in order to review week 5, we must first go backwards to somebody who had themselves an unfortunate day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised it wasn't me.
And it is not you, but it almost certainly would have been. Except for one person saved your day. Did it share with sound the first time?
No. Didn't hear the sound.
I figured that. I put that back up. I was like, wait a second. I didn't click with sound. All right. Let's try this again. Oh, yeah. So it wasn't you, then who?
Oh, I think I know.
It was Don.
Eh.
Poor Poor Dawn. She had, I mean, honestly, like you said, you're surprised it wasn't you. The combination of two things that happened. One is Darren Waller got hurt on like the first play of the game, basically, and got Dawn 0 points.
Yep.
And Mahomes went absolute nuclear. So those two things came together to save you. But let's take a quick look at and your kicker. That's true. Yes,
kicker and defense were the second, third best on my team, my quarterback. So I was sitting at 53 points going into that Monday night game.
That was bad. It was bad.
Like,
yeah, that's true. Actually, I mean, maybe you're destined to be a special teams coach.
Man, the fact that I almost broke 100 is pretty remarkable.
It really is. That's a good point. So let's take a look at Dawn's matchup here before we go crown our champion.
Yeah.
So she was up against Evan. She got the lowest with 86.4. He hammered her with 128.66, which was actually like a pretty common score, relative to kind of all the other scores. It was 4 of them kind of in that range. And then mine was a bit lower and Dan's was a lot higher. And then you and Dawn were a bit lower. But yeah, so for Dawn, I mean, just nobody really came through, man. I mean, Metcalf had a pretty good day. Murray was okay. Hunt was okay. Debo was meh. And then out of that, I mean, Jesus. Hill, Thielen, Hines. Hines was another one. So she had 2 players because he got hurt like really early in that game as well. Q, right? Her kicker's normally dependable. Decent day from the Buffalo D, but what are you seeing here on her side of the ball?
Yeah, no tight end. And both her wide receivers didn't give her that many points too, like Hill and Thielen.
Yeah.
Not enough to kind of get her over that. But you look at it, it doesn't look like it would be that bad. But one spot from Hines, who went down, I believe.
Yeah.
Waller, who went down. That's going to hurt the Raiders. And our kicker, usually, who gets her a few more points than just one. So some of those key players that were consistently giving her points didn't give her points this week, which is a pretty.
That's it. Yeah, Hill was disappointing. He was kind of banged up. Him and Waddle were both questionable. And he left with an injury. We'll talk about him in a bit, but he should be good to go this week. But, yeah, I mean, he is a bit disappointing. Thielen didn't really come through with anything. So, tough week for some of those guys that you would kind of rely on. And, yeah, Debo was okay, but, I mean, 32 total yards. He happened to get the touchdown. Otherwise, not a good day for him, considering the 49ers scored 37 points. But part of that was a pick 6, and a lot of that was their run game. Over to Evan then. What I mean, Jesus, you look at some of the top performers there, and he got what he needed from them despite his quarterback dragging him down.
Yeah. Big day to Lockett too.
Yeah. Yeah, really 4 players kind of carried his team there.
That's all. Yeah, that's all you need, right? Have those big days.
I would say 3 we expected, right? Diggs, Cup, and Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook's maybe had a little bit of a lower start to the year, but the last couple of weeks he's been solid. But Diggs and Cup, we expect a big day out of pretty much every day or every week, I guess. But
yeah,
Lockett, like you said, 5 catches. Man, he was catching bombs from Geno. Only 5 catches, but it goes for 104 and 2. That's just wild.
Wow.
And then, yeah, I mean, he threw in Woods, his kicker, his defense. He went heavy on the Rams there. That was kind of a poor choice. Dallas is a good team. And, yeah, Russ is a disaster, but he's got Dak as his other quarterback. So he maybe should be in the market for somebody in the meantime because playing Russ has not been a fruitful endeavor. But,
no, it hasn't been the experience they wanted, I guess.
No. Interesting, though. He scored almost exactly what his projection was. Do you see that?
Huh.
128.66 was his final score. His projection was 128.69. Even though every player scored like quite a bit different than what they were projected.
Oh,
it
yeah.
came to almost the exact same. That's crazy.
Wow.
All right. Anyway, for every sad individual, there's a happy individual. So let's celebrate that person this week here. All that power, Dan the man. Man, he had like a reasonably good score, and then Travis Kelce just went nuclear. That was man. That was like because it was like you're like OMG who he played against. So 128.36, like almost the identical score to Evan, right? Only 0.3 off. But yeah, Dan's team. I mean, take Kelce away going into that matchup, he had about 148, which is a pretty good week, right? But he had 3 players with 30 or more points this week, and almost 4 with Hurts.
Wow.
Jeepers. Yeah, you got 27 from Hurts, 30 on the button from Kelce with the 4 touchdowns. That's remarkable. Fournette with the 30 spot. Like
Eckler.
Jeepers. Eckler with the 30, almost 34 points. 1 on the ground, 1 through the air, 173 rush yard. Jeepers.
That's all he needed. He didn't. I mean, at the end, he got even 12 points. So.
Yeah, and even Amari Cooper with another decent. He's become like a regular top 30, top 24 wide receiver. But yeah, I mean, despite Najee, Godwin, defense not doing too much, he was more than fine, man, with 178 points. That's a big week.
Yeah, the old man didn't have a bad week either, right?
No. Another, like, again, Josh Allen, highest scoring player on the week with 36 points. Devontae Adams had the 2 big touchdowns, 25. Chubb, and it just continues to be a beast.
Don't forget that push at the end of the game there. That was only in a Raiders uniform.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, man. Raiders are on a bye next week, so they're probably gonna stall another day or two before they decide whether they're gonna suspend him or just fine him.
Yeah. Old man, I told him to put in Breece Hall next week. So if they're put in Breece Hall.
Has to. Man, he's on fire. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the benches, then he left Devonta Smith on the bench, Breece Hall on the bench. Deontay Johnson was okay. But mainly those 2.
Wouldn't have made a difference, but that's just how good Dan's team did this week. But
yeah,
I mean, the fact that he's had some just really great weeks, but the people that he's been playing just have better weeks. Like, he doesn't have that bad of a team.
Well, it's ironic you say that. Coincidental, perhaps, is the better word that you say that, because I was writing out the standings update to see kind of where people are. And then you're looking at points scored and then points against. He has the most points against him of any team in the league.
Oh wow!
So he's faced the toughest schedule so far.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense why he's 1-4, because like you said, overall, he's done pretty well to put up a decent amount of points, but it just hasn't mattered because his opponent has been so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Next up, then, let's go to the non-me and you matchup. So, we had the duo there of Krager and Jay, which was a bit of an upset, I would say, coming into the week. But I think we both missed this one, actually. So, we'll talk about that. But yeah, I was a little surprised, and Jay's team almost came back thanks to a huge game from Josh Jacobs there after a big game from his kicker on the Sunday night game, and Andrews, of course, and Lamar. Yeah, But yeah, what stands out to you here of the two teams?
Yeah, just great. Alvin Kamara, big week for Craig. His kicker gave him a good amount of points. Williams had a big game. Barkley, Brown, Joe Burrow. I mean, just good, consistent points there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really just close. The Seattle defense. Otherwise, everybody else was 8+ points.
Yeah, like just really good week on his team, and not like a bad week on Jay's team either. Like Lamar probably, that was a tough game, but
we kind of figured that would be a bit of a down one against. Like he's had 2 tough matchups there, right? Buffalo and then Cincinnati.
Yeah,
neither of those are ideal, but yeah, AJ Brown let him down pretty hard. Christian Kirk 2 bad weeks in a row. James Robinson 2 bad weeks in a row. CEH finally came back down to earth. Philly D was a bit. I mean, they've been so good. I get it, but a little risky. Arizona's a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, Craig had a nice performance out of several. Marquise Brown, man, one of the most underrated players right now. He is an absolute beast right now.
Yeah, he's a solid wide receiver. So
yeah,
I think I had him on my team last year and did really well. So
he's a good one to have. Well, last but not least,
I don't want to look at this again.
We squared off in one of our 2 matchups this season, and it was looking not so good to start the day there. My Green Bay defense with only 3 points. I wasn't feeling so good about that. Even early, things were kind of looking a bit dicey, but you had 3 wide receivers that were all questionable that I was wondering if they'd get ruled out or not. Higgins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Waddle. And they all were active, so it kind of seemed like I was pretty nervous. I was like, man, Higgins all 3 of them. Oh, well, I think he ended up, yeah.
He was
in theory, right?
Yeah, that screwed me. It's
0 spots. That 3-pack, right? Of 3 of those are like 3 of your better players, and they combined for like 7 points.
Yeah, not a good week. Not a good week at all.
Yeah, Everett had a bad game.
I got a little worried because Detroit had won all those games, or not won, sorry, but they played all those games in a dome. Going into this game in New England, so a little worried about that. But I didn't think they weren't going to show up at all. I mean, geez, I thought they had a pretty good. I didn't think New England's defense was that good, but
I know.
Not a good week.
Yeah, not much you could have done. I mean, I didn't get much out of I didn't really have that much higher of a score. It's 118 to 97. So it's actually fairly close in the end. But Jefferson had a nice day. CMC had a nice day. Goddard for the tight end landscape is, right up there just behind Andrews and Kelsey, and Olave had the touchdown. So that was pretty much it. Otherwise, my team really wasn't very good either. But
Gabe Davis, you left Gabe Davis on the bench.
I know.
Oh,
I knew it too. I was like, the opportunity's there. He still only had 3 catches, but 2 of them were huge touchdown catches for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he'll have a spot again this week, even though McKenzie's probably he's back. He's out of the concussion protocol, but against the Chiefs, he'll have a big matchup again there. So, all right. Anything else to throw out there from last week's performances or the games that we saw?
Just want to move on from this week. That week.
That's fair.
It was a horrible week.
Yeah. Bring it on, eh? Bring on the next one. So let's shift forward. Injury suspension. Worth noting that Hopkins is on his final week of his 6-game suspension, but no other suspensions as of yet. Sad injury. I feel like every week, man, we've had a season ender here for the last few weeks. This Javonte and then Trey Lance. And now, unfortunately, Rashad Penny is the latest victim with a broken fibia. So, you feel for the guy. He was on a 1-year prove-it deal. He was looking pretty good, all things considered, in an offense that we didn't have a lot of hope for.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll miss the rest of at least the fantasy season anyway, and kind of has like a 4-month timeline. So he'll be out for a while there. which opens the door to rookie Kenneth Walker. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Guys that are still out for a period of time: Treylon Burks, Elijah Mitchell, Cordell Patterson, Dak Prescott, Gus Edwards, DeAndre Swift. Guys that we already know are likely going to miss this week: Baker Mayfield, Jahan Dotson, Tua Tagovailoa, Keenan Allen, Mac Jones, Damian Harris. And then guys that we're kind of waiting to figure out. So some of the guys we think are probably going to miss: Michael Thomas, Jameis Winston, Rashad Bateman. And then you've got, and maybe Landry and Olave in there as well. Then you got, excuse me, Jonathan Taylor, Tyrion Davis-Price, James Conner, Pat Freiermuth, Teddy Bridgewater, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, Russell Wilson, and Nyheim Hines, all to keep an eye on there. So
not good. Not
good. I reckon a few of those players happen to be on your team there.
Yep, just about 4 of them. I think
yeah.
4? Is it 4?
Yeah, you're
Conner, Waddle.
Higgins,
no, maybe just 3.
Conner, Waddle, and then Amon-Ra's on the bye, so he'll be not available for you.
Oh man,
that's the other thing to throw out there now, right? We got 4 teams on bye. So this week, the Texans, the Lions, the Raiders, and who's the other team?
Titans.
I was like, it must be a team without a lot of fantasy people because I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's Derrick Henry and no one else. So we'll miss Derrick Henry, but the rest of the team's not really a big deal.
Hopefully I'm playing the person that has Derrick Henry. Am
I? We'll have to check that. It would be Jay. So maybe.
I'm not playing.
All right. So that's injuries. Keep an eye on those folks. Survivor. I just cannot get this system figured out, man. Every time I go to take a team that's doing well, that's not like a top tier team, it doesn't work out. So, I mean, the only time I've hit so far is the 5-0 Eagles. I've missed on the Titans, Browns, and now the Jags, who lost to the Houston Texans. I did not see that coming, but I resume my streak of 0, and you have started a streak of 1 as the Vikings successfully, barely though, beat the Bears.
Yeah, it was a close one.
So, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I don't have a lot of belief in the Rams, but they happen to play the Panthers this week, and they don't have Baker Mayfield. They did fire their coach, which actually scares me a little because normally teams play better after they fire their coach. But I'm still going to ride the Rams against the Panthers. Who's on your pick this week to see if you can get that streak up to 2 and tie your longest so far?
I got to think Green Bay is going to come back and win that game in New York. I mean,
you don't want to risk it with the back-to-back New York games?
Yeah, I just don't see them going 0-2 against that. And
Can you imagine, man, if they lost to the Giants and Jets in back-to-back weeks?
Ooh, people are going to be, I don't want to know. It's going to be a tough one in Green Bay if that's the case.
Oh, my goodness, man. Those New York teams are a combined 7-3.
Wow.
I don't know who saw that one coming, man. That's Jesus. It's wild. All right, let's go somewhere that we did better on. So we actually were both successful. I took the Cowboys to upset the Rams and was successful on that, which is always a good time. And you took the Jets to take down the Dolphins. And, I mean, we didn't know Teddy Bridgewater was going to get injured.
Yeah.
So it probably would have been a much more competitive game, but it was an absolute blowout after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little lucky on that part. So
as we peek into this week, then I was taking a quick look, but do you have somebody already in mind for your upset pick?
Get this. I'm going to take at home the Atlanta Falcons over the San Francisco 49ers.
Ooh, that's bold, man. 49ers been looking good.
The Falcons are pissed. You know they're mad. They're still mad about that call. They're going to come out firing.
Yeah. I like that part. I mean, I think the Falcons are a better team than their record gives them credit for. They've been
For
in
sure.
like every game.
They just don't have that great of a quarterback right now. I mean,
no,
that's the problem. But
Mariota's terrible. I'm trying to find a good one here. Man, I'm tempted, but I don't think that's a good plan.
I mean, there's a couple.
There's a couple that are intriguing. The Patriots over the Browns is intriguing.
See the
I'm tempted.
Baltimore-New York game?
That's what I was thinking too, man. I was like, could the Giants beat the Ravens? I mean, the Ravens just keep shooting themselves in the foot. At home, yeah. Yeah, I think you've swayed me enough. I'll do it. Giants over the Ravens. Let's make that my upset pick. I mean, they do have the better record, right?
Yeah, they really do. People are not giving them credit at all.
It's kind of crazy, right? Like, yeah, you're 4-1 at home and you're 5.5-point underdog. Like,
yeah.
Although, I mean, Baltimore realistically could be 5-0, right? Like their loss to the Dolphins and to the Bengals were both super close. So you could easily make the or not the Bengals, the Dolphins and the Bills. That was the other one.
That's right.
Okay. Perfection. It continues in the NFL. The Eagles found a way to take down the Cardinals. Now they head to Dallas. Do we believe it will continue for another week?
Ooh, no. They're playing in Dallas.
I believe so. Yeah, let me check that.
Game's in Dallas.
No.
It's in Philly.
It's in Philly. Yeah.
Ooh. Huh.
I'm gonna take Philly. I almost took this as my upset again and took Dallas again. I really like that Dallas team.
I'll take
Cooper
Dallas.
Rush is gonna be there.
If you're
gonna
taking
go
Philly,
Dallas,
I'll take Dallas. Yeah.
All right.
I just the only thing I'm doubting is it being in Philly. Philly's man. If did you see the fans that were in Arizona for cheering for Philly? I mean, they got a large following. So
that was crazy, man. I think there was as many Philly fans as there was Cardinals fans.
There's a few arenas like that. The LA, the SoFi Stadium down there in LA. Yeah. Whenever they, especially if they play the Raiders, forget about it. Like it's just made sense for the Raiders to go back to LA. Anyways, I did digress.
We're gonna head down the olive branch here.
I'm still in an angry mood about last week. I need to get last week out of my mouth. Like it's just
close. We're gonna head to this week here. I mean, we've started talking about this week. You were successful in your survivor pick. Your upset of the week. You did well.
Yeah,
positives.
It's not the greatest sports weekend here in Toronto.
Yeah, I hear that. The Blue Jays, man. Blue Jays are giving us Leaf vibes there.
Oh,
terrible. Gosh. How do you blow a 7-point? Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we won't go there. We're trying to keep everybody in a good mood.
Let's get in
Unless you're a Seattle fan, maybe you were happy about that. Boo. All right. So I got the Eagles. You got the Cowboys. Speaking of this week, let's take a look at who's got who. So first up, let's go. All right, let's go Jay and Don. So you were saying, I hope I play the person without Derrick Henry. That happens to be Jay. So he will be without him. I know Dawn has not set her lineup yet, and she's probably going to have to do some tinkering.
Her lineup. But...
Yeah, not always have folks. We have to kind of look at the bench players and make some assumptions as well. But yeah, so Lamar and Andrews are up against the Giants this week, so that should be a better matchup. He's got his usual A.J. Brown, Christian Kirk, James Robinson, Edwards-Helaire, and then he's got McLaurin and Curtis Samuel in there instead of Henry or Jacobs. So definitely a downgrade to have those two wide receivers instead of those two running backs. Don still rocking Kyler, Tyreek Hill, Thielen, Hunt. Probably will play either Hines or JT, whichever one's healthy, if one of them's healthy. She's going to have to go hunt herself down a tight end because Waller's out on a bye, but then got Debo and Metcalf. So let's assume for now JT practiced today. So let's say he's in. So we throw JT in there instead of Hines, and then she goes and grabs the tight end. What are your thoughts there on that one?
Oof.
And she probably goes and gets a new defense or benches her defense because
I like Jay's team right now.
Yeah?
Because there's a couple of questionable things there.
Yeah, she's definitely have to make some moves.
I don't like either Hines or Taylor. Like, how good's Taylor going to be coming back from an injury? And
yeah. Jacksonville's got a pretty good defense too.
They do have a pretty good defense too, so that's going to be a tough one. I don't like that. I hope they do come back, and I hope they can get some yards and all that. But I don't see them having like big performances. But Kareem Hunt against New England, that New England defense, are they going to show up again, or is that just a one-time thing against Detroit?
Yeah.
Definitely, she's going to need a tight end. It's weak out there, but if you're able to grab that one tight end, it's just a crapshoot. It really is. I don't care anymore. It's a crapshoot with tight ends, especially the ones that are left.
Andrews, Kelsey, Goddard, and then Higbee. I would say is probably the other one.
I'm talking about like the tight ends that are left out there for her to grab.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like
it's not. You
you're
really just kind of, if you pick the right guy.
There's one that stands out to me. I won't say the name, but we'll see.
Yeah.
There is one option that I think is pretty decent. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It is. No, he's not out there. If he was, then that would be the option. But yeah, we'll see what she does. But yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, so you're gonna go with Jay and his already set lineup versus Dawn and her patchwork lineup that she has to figure out.
Yeah.
I just see her lineup and I'm like, I feel like she's got some potential there. And every time I pick, it doesn't go wrong. Well,
did you pick Dawn again?
Yeah. It's literally like the reason that you're 7 of 16, I'm 5 of 16, and it's because I keep picking Dawn and she keeps losing. So I should probably,
man.
Yeah, I should probably change the error of my ways, but I'm gonna go back to the well one more time here, and I'm gonna go with Dawn because I don't know. Jay's still got a decent team, but I think some of his with Jacobs and Henry out, that hurts. I don't trust Kirk and Robinson as much with that offense. CEH, tough Buffalo defense. So McLaurin and Samuel are okay, but they take away from each other a bit. So we'll see. But I'm going to ride with Dawn one more week and then see if that burns me for like a fourth straight time. All right, let's go to the other non-you and I matchup. So let's go Evan and OMG. So OMG is also missing his tight end this week, but he went and picked up the one and only Taysom Hill to fill that in. So he's already gone and made an adjustment there. And looks like he's got Breece Hall in there. So yeah, he's got Josh Allen, Lazard and Smith, Chubb and Hall. He'll put in Taysom Hill, and then he'll have Judy and Dobbins there.
I like that Taysom Hill pickup.
It's Taysom Hill's he's a unicorn, but you got to watch, man. He'll either rush the ball a half dozen times for like 30 yards, or he'll get 3 or 4 touchdowns. So you just never know. But yeah. I like you said, compared to all the other tight ends out there, when you're looking at guys like Conklin and Hayden Hurst and stuff, like you can take your shot with Taysom Hill and hope for the best, right? So then over to Evan. So he's still got Russ in there against the Chargers. He's got that Diggs, Cup, Cook trio we just talked about. AJ Dillon, Zach Ertz, Lockett. He'll have to throw in, I'm going to guess Montgomery now that he knows he's back healthy. We'll probably go in for Woods, and then kicker and Rams D there. So what do you where are you going on this one?
A little surprised. I don't know who did the scheduling, but didn't make the Buffalo KC game, like the Sunday night game, the Monday night game, like
because they keep having the games. Broncos on the island game, man. The Broncos and Chargers are the Monday nighter again. It's like, okay, I know the Broncos were supposed to be a really good team with Russ, but like at some point we have to just give up on that dream.
Buffalo,
and I'm coming from me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you knew what happened last season with Buffalo KC.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's going to be
a good point.
That should be a high scoring game, I think.
Oh my goodness.
I like Cup in that Carolina.
It's close. I think it's actually a pretty good matchup.
This, like it's gonna come down to Tyson Hill if he can get some points for him.
He's a wild card, man.
He's the wild card because I like what he's got here. I still like him keeping the Jacksonville defense.
Yeah. I think they're a good defense.
Yeah.
And all right, so you're rolling with them there, or are you gonna shift over to the Evan?
Yeah, I'll go with OMG.
All right, I'm gonna take Evan and see if I can snag another win from you here. All right, let's go me first. I think your matchup's a little more intriguing, but we'll see how you feel about my matchup as well. All right, so I got to take down Kreger this week, and he's climbed his way up to third place. He's riding. Is it 3 straight wins now? Did he start 0-2, or maybe 2 straight wins in 3 weeks? But either way, so he's pretty good shape here. He's mostly unaffected by the bye, so he's got his normal Burrow, Hollywood Pittman, Barkley Jones, Higbee, Williams, Kamara, Gano, and then the Patriots defense. I got Herbert, Chase Jefferson, CMC. I got Ramondre Stevenson in there now that Damian Harris is out. Goddard, Lamb. Right now I got Gabe Davis in the lineup, which I'll probably stick with in that high-scoring game that you just talked about. I got to find a kicker, and then I've got the Bucs defense against rookie Kenny Pickett there in the Steelers. What are you thinking here?
I like Herbert against Denver. Though Denver's defense isn't like
Denver's got
a worse defense.
Yeah, their pass defense is pretty good.
Yeah, so I wouldn't.
It'll be a tougher matchup.
He's got to have a good week though. Eventually, Herbert, because
it's a little dicey because Herbert's primary weapon right now with Keenan Allen out is Mike Williams. So if he has a good day, Herbert has a good day, it kind of cancels out and actually helps Craig more than it does me, right?
Chase should get a big volume of those throws just because we don't know the situation with Higgins and that. So I think he might have a big day. Jefferson, like that against Miami. That defense is trying to hold them together right now. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, the defense isn't actually bad, but the offense can't move the ball well enough to keep them off the field, right?
Yeah. I think I got to go. I know you're going to go with yourself, so I'll go with Craig on this. I need somebody to beat you.
To be contrarian. That's fair. All right. Leaving in your brother. That's one option. Okay. Let's go to the last but not least. This is a good one, man. I know you're in 6th place, but I mean, you're 2-3 with a couple of tough losses here. So, but you're taking on the Dan man, who's sitting atop the mountain with the highest record and the highest point total. And as we talked about, you've got some banged up players with Connor and Higgins there, but looks like Waddle's good to go. Actually, man, I'd take him off the injury report. Full participant in practice. There you go.
I just picked up McPherson for my kicker.
That's nice. He's good. He's talented kicker. Missed a couple field goals in this season that he wouldn't normally, but not bad.
Yeah,
man, Dan's got the carryover of the Minnesota defense to play Miami, who's gonna have Skylar Thompson playing as the quarterback because Tua and Teddy are both probably out.
At Miami.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a hot day. It's going to be tough for that defense. So
yeah,
that's the case.
I mean, he's got Hurts, who has a tough matchup against that Dallas D. That's going to be tough.
Sunday night game under the lights.
Yeah.
Big one.
I have no faith in Najee at this point against Tampa Bay. That's good defense. Eckler, we talked about Denver's got pretty good defense, so it could be a little lower scoring.
Hopefully
Godwin should be fine. Cooper, well, New England's D's tough.
Whatever touchdown Kelsey gets, Mahomes gets, so that's good.
That's true. That helps a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I feel like I wanted to make like major changes to my lineup, but you just can't. Like Connor, I just don't feel like even if he's going to play, I don't know.
Yeah,
he hasn't played that well in the last few weeks, so maybe it's best he sits out.
Yeah,
Gibson.
We'll
see. I don't like Thursday night games. I've said it. Like I know I got lucky that 1 week with Higgins and Mixon, but
Waddle and Mixon,
and Waddle, like it was just a lot. So I don't know. I'm going to go with myself, obviously, but it's not going to be
fair.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough one, and I'm going to take the Dan man here. I take him to continue rolling, which makes us a perfect 4 for 4 on disagreement on matchups this week. So that should boost the standings one way or another in terms of our accurate picks. All right. Anything else to add about the upcoming matchups?
Nope. I just hopefully get it done this week. Not like last week.
All right. Well, it's that time of the hour as we prepare to wet the whistle and have ourselves a joyous time here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out. Come on. Virtual cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So we're doing a little bit of a league update here this week. So we're just doing a quick review of where's everybody at and what's been going on with the Cow Lows. It's champ of the week and loser of the week for those who are unfamiliar. So interestingly enough, for the loser of the week, we've had a different person every week.
Yes, except for me.
What do you mean?
I haven't been loser of the week.
No, so you, me, and Dan have not been loser of the week, but there's been a different, but everybody else has. So Jay, OMG, Evan, Krager, and Don have each had one. Nobody's had twice. So it's been a different team that finishes with the lowest score every week, which is kind of interesting and speaks to, like you said, with your dad, he's got some good points and Don's kind of gotten unlucky. And so, no one's really got like a terrible team.
No.
And then when you go look at the flip side, Jay and I have each been champ of the week twice, and now Dan's been champ of the week once. So even there, pretty spread out, right? 5 among 3 teams. So not really like one clear dominant team in that sense either.
No.
So that's been pretty spread out. We haven't seen anybody have like a boatload of high scores. And then we go to the standings. Dan and I are sitting at 4-1. Krager and Evan 3-2. You and Jay 2-3. Don and OMG 1-4. So it's actually a perfect like anagram. I don't remember what the word for that is with numbers, but like it's a perfect mirror, right? So we got 2 4-1s, 2 1-4s, 2 3-2s, 2 3-3s. So it's literally like perfectly balanced in that sense.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
that is weird.
Kind of crazy, right? Like logically you need the same amount of wins and losses, but you wouldn't expect it to be exactly the opposite. But again, 3 games separates first from last. So, nobody's undefeated, nobody's winless. And if your dad or Don could scrape together a couple of wins, then all of a sudden they could jump right up the standings here. So any kind of thoughts as to how the first 5 weeks have gone and what you're seeing here?
Well, I was a little surprised. I remember somebody asked Brady about boring games or something like that. Maybe there's been a few. But I think
I think there's just a lot of the football, and he said People just aren't playing quality football.
Yeah.
Just bad football.
I think there's been a lot of good football. I don't know, but I'm not an expert at that, so I can't really, argue against that. But I've been excited by a few games, maybe not every game, but I like that there's a comparison to. I like that there's competition. I like that. I don't know, even though the Eagles are 4-0 or 5-0, it's not like they're running away with it all, right? Like
like KC, Buffalo, even the 49ers to some extent, they're right there, even though they're not 5-0.
It's been enjoyable, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between the games being entertaining versus having quality football, right? Like when you're seeing teams blow 20-point leads, like that's not good football, but that's fun to watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Like
right. Like the Giants coming back against the Packers or like Detroit, right?
Detroit, Philly. I mean, they almost made a game out of that, even though Philly won the game. I mean, Detroit and who else did they play where they came back?
Like the Jets with that crazy comeback.
Right, that was
Browns, it. Right.
Yeah. So
we won't talk about your Raiders in Arizona, but there's been some crazy comebacks, right? So like those, that's a symptom of defenses and offenses not shutting down and winning a game, but it makes for exciting football.
KC beating the Raiders again. The Raiders.
I thought the Raiders played a really good game, man. They could have won, right?
For like the first half, they played a really good game, and then they just kind of.
Well, I mean, it was a questionable decision to go for 2 there. He could have kicked the extra point with that much time left, and then. But, I mean, they also could have converted that 4th down, and Adams was just outside on his one catch there, and the 2 receivers ran into each other. And
that was brutal. That was just.
Yeah, I mean, it could have easily been a field goal attempt for Carlson. Yeah, but they were right there with, the best team in the division and one of the best teams in the NFL. So they'll get a bye week to try to get their stuff figured out and come back.
They need it.
Well, speaking of good games with the Raiders and Chiefs, what's your game of the week here? What are you most excited for?
Well, I think we're in agreement with this one. I think it's Buffalo KC. 100% excited for that game.
It's kind of hard not to pick that one, man.
It's a game of the
AFC week. Championship rematch, which really was like, in my opinion, it was the Super Bowl rematch, more or less, right? Like I know the Bengals technically won the Super Bowl, but
not the Bengals, the Rams.
The Bengals, got to the Super Bowl and knocked off the Chiefs. But like those two teams, that game to me was like the Super Bowl of the playoffs.
It really was one of the greatest football games played. So
Excited to see that game. Hopefully it's a high scoring game, good game, but who knows? It could be the Buffalo defense could really just want to show up and say, hey, we're not going to be letting that happen again. So
I think they'll try, but I would vote on the side of lots of points, right?
Yeah, it's easier said than done, right? It's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, and this is a game where I think that guy likes to step up in games that are meaningful. Not that he doesn't in other games, but I just think he's a competitor. He's top of the top, right?
I mean, when you've been to 4 straight AFC championship games, it's kind of hard in like a week 5 or week 8 matchup to get like geared up because all you're really thinking about is a Super Bowl, right? And I know everybody thinks about a Super Bowl, but that guy legit has a chance to get to the Super Bowl every year.
Absolutely.
Right? Not everybody can say that, right? Like you could say, I don't know, Derek Carr's thinking about it. Sorry, I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but like Kyler Murray's thinking of Super Bowl, right? Or like Dak Prescott say, but I think really the odds are they're lucky to get in the playoffs, never mind get to the Super Bowl. But that guy literally can get to the Super Bowl every year.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think this is the kind of game that will get 100% of his attention and he'll be excited for, where some of the other weeks it's like, yeah, let's go out there and get a win. But I mean, really, we're just playing to get the first seed.
At home too. Big game for them at home. I would say the weather, but it's Buffalo. So it's one of those teams that, a lot of other teams would come into town and you'd be like, well, we got the weather advantage. But when Buffalo, it's like, we don't have that.
Well, it's an interesting stat. Mahomes has made 41 home starts. And this is the first time he's ever been the underdog in a matchup.
Wow.
So first time since he's been active and added to the team as a starter that they're an underdog at home, right? So I'm excited, man. That's gonna be a good matchup. Should be a lot of points scored. So
for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just silly that that's a afternoon game. I mean, I don't know what. We'll double check what the other two games is, like the Panthers and Rams and Cardinals and somebody, but like nobody's going to be watching those games. That's the, like, you know, I'm a red zone on Sunday kind of guy, but that's the kind of game I'm getting off the red zone and I'm just watching that game unless there's a commercial.
100%. That's the only game that's going to be on in the afternoon. So
yeah, and I'm sure 80% of football fans, if not more, are going to be doing the same thing.
For sure.
Well, anything else to add before we wrap ourselves up here?
Nope. Hopefully I'll see you next week. Should still have the trusty computer, so
there it is.
Should be good to go.
All right. Well, GibsonFantasyFootball.com, Gibson_FF on Twitter, Gibson Fantasy Football, all one word, on Instagram, YouTube, Podbean, and Spotify. Until next time, as always, clear hearts, full eyes, can't lose.